It's got that swing. Glasses clink, hear the ice cubes sing. Liquid lunch, pour it smooth, let it flow. Friends round the table where the good times grow. Raise a glass, let the worry slip away. Liquid lunch, we're living for today. There's Troy laughing with his gin and a grin, telling stories about where he's been. Boomer's got whiskey, he's loosening his tie, chasing dreams under a midday sky. The bartender knows us, he's mixing with flair. Every sip's a moment we're happy to share. Liquid lunch, pour it smooth, let it flow. Friends round the table where the good times grow. Raise a glass, let the worry slip away. Liquid lunch, we're living for the day. The clock don't matter, we're lost in the vibe. Jazz in the air, feel the soul come alive. From martinis to bourbon, we're riding the wave. Stealing this hour, it's the freedom we crave. Sun's still shining, but we're in our zone. This bar's our shelter, our temporary home. One more round before the world calls us back. Savor the moment, keep the blues in the rack. We'll laugh and we'll toast till the afternoon fades. Memories made in these liquid escapades. Liquid lunch, pour it smooth, let it flow. Friends round the table where the good times grow. Raise a glass, let the worry slip away. Liquid lunch, we're living for today. So here's to the daylight, the drinks and the fun. Our liquid lunch, till the next one comes. With a wink and a smile, we'll be back real soon. Chasing that jazz under the high noon.
Salute and welcome. Happy Monday. I hope it's a happy Monday. Mondays tend to be a little challenging, especially coming off of a holiday weekend. I had a hard time getting going, but I hit the ground running. I really did. Hopefully I got the right promos in here today. We'll see. But let me start by saying hi to all of you wonderful people. Starting with Storyman Jack, you were the first one here. You're not watching either. Warner can kiss my ass. Yes, I inserted that. I supposed what you were getting at. I appreciate you censoring yourself for my sake, but I think sometimes it's absolutely worth it. Big Al of Big Al Presents says, have a great show, my friends. I'm going to assume that he is going to get around to seeing this movie because he must, because he reviews films. Speaking of, welcome YARC9. Haven't seen you before, but I'm so glad you're here. Got my tickets, my movie ticket. I'm watching it this Thursday. Good for you. I do hope you enjoy it. I really do. James Gunn is a horror director. He did Slither, and he learned from Feige. Well, that is just another reason for me to have a lot of questions about this upcoming film. DJRonnieG, always good to see you, my friend. Salute. And of course, Netters Network. Saying hi to the love of her life, that being me. I am so thankful for that. She says like, share, subscribe, and become a member. I hope I earn a membership from you today if I have not already. Lynn Green, early start, and I just made it. Well, no, I started about 1 minute early, but I've got like a 2-minute intro, so I figured, unless you were talking about yourself, I don't know. Welcome, Bo. Good to see you. He says, salutations, drinking water and eating a sandwich with chips for lunch at work. Drank too much during the 4th of July weekend. I don't believe there is such a thing as too much, but hope you're feeling better by midday. Well, it is midday, by this evening. Oftentimes, when you leave work, you start feeling a lot better, I would imagine. And let's see, there's Jonathan Conroy, who says, good afternoon. Good afternoon to you as well. He also says, hail all, smash the like button and enjoy the show. Yes, I do hope that you enjoy the show. And Wilkie's Movies and Music. Good to see you, my friend. Had a great interview yesterday, last night, late night on Reserved Seats over on Deleted Scenes channel. If you haven't seen it, check it out. And be sure you are subscribed to Wilkie's Movies and Music. He's a wonderful film reviewer. He is almost certainly going to end up seeing this Superman movie, if for no other reason, because he needs to review it. A lot of film reviewers in my circle of friends, and I certainly understand sometimes we see films so you don't have to. As always, all of the references are linked down below. Number of articles from that park place. A video that I must be honest, I have not yet watched. It is in my to watch later because like I said, I got busy getting ready for today's stream, so I haven't had a chance to watch Culture Casino's most recent video. And there's another one that we will talk about towards the end. Please check out those links. If for no other reason, you can go click and hit the like button on the videos and whatnot. Let them know I sent you, just so they know that they're being referenced on things out there. Going to the movies tomorrow evening, watching either F1 or Megan 2.0. I've seen neither, so I can't give an informed opinion or suggestion. But I can say from what I've heard, F1 was really, really good, and I've heard a lot of people kind of trashing Megan 2.0, saying it's not. It doesn't have the feel of a sequel to the previous movie, which is not a good thing. Not a good thing. Connie Cleary saying, hail to myself and to all of you as well. She is the bird woman of YouTube. She is a wonderful Blue Wrench and channel member. Wilkie's Movies and Music says F1 is a fun summer movie. I am guessing he has a review for it up on his channel. I am so behind on content. So busy making my own. I have so little time to watch other people's. But you should go check out Wilkie's Movies and Music if he has a review of F1. And let us get to our first article of the day. I almost said of the evening. So this one comes to us from that park. And you know what? I really should... Definitely. Well, this is a great pivot into the topic. Lynn says, definitely no longer interested in Superman's James Gunn. Written, directed, produced by James Gunn. Starring James Gunn's brother and dog. And marketed almost 100% by James Gunn. You forgot that one. He is all over the marketing on this. He is making it all about himself and not so much about Superman. But I digress. Let's go ahead and get into this with the caveat that I should throw out that I do know there are differing opinions out there. You are absolutely welcome to them. Some of the YouTube channels that I greatly, greatly admire and follow avidly and support financially seem to be running interference for this film, and trying to shoot down all the negatives like some sort of stands. And I'm not going to besmirch them. I'm not going to mention them by name either, other than to say we could be friends and disagree. But I've been burned too many times to go and give my money to see a movie that is just going to insult me. And when part of the marketing is insulting me and my friends, I am not going to support that. Speaking of friends I want to support, Leia Plus Size. I haven't seen you in a while. Good to see you. She says, good afternoon, Troy. On lunch break. So I came to check out the show. That is exactly the idea behind the show. When you are on your lunch break, you can come have your lunch break with me. Mine happens to be a liquid lunch. So let's get into this. From that Park Place, of course, article link below. James Gunn confirms Superman is about politics and decline of American kindness. Says, screw them to jerks who get offended. Yeah, we need more of that. That's been super successful in Hollywood. In my description for the stream today, I said that people can't seem to write a good Superman story for the past couple decades, at least when it comes to live action. Don't know what's going on in the comics. Now, it's even worse than that, because they can't write good stories that people want to see in general. They certainly don't know how to write heroes, let alone superheroes. It is not superhero fatigue. It is bad writing fatigue. It is insulting the audience fatigue. That's what it really is. They want to pretend an adopted infant who clearly qualifies as a refugee is the same thing as a criminal migrant. Well, yeah, that might be putting too fine an edge on it, but we'll get to that. Plenty of kindness here in flyover country. It's the left coast that has a lack of kindness. Well, let's be honest. It's the left coast. It's the right coast. It's, Chicago and Illinois and the Midwest. I mean, there's a lot of places. Mark Melnikoff, my Klingon brother, says, Mechpo. I hope my drink is spicy. There you go. Waiting on reviews from YouTubers I trust about new Superman movie. I would take them all into consideration because it sounds like people are going to be around the board with a bit of bias. Still not sold on Gunn's Superman. I still feel he was not the right choice to direct this film. I did keep an open mind, Leia. I did. And the more he speaks, the more he has to say, the less I am willing to give him the benefit of the doubt. Let's get to this article. With mere days to release, director and DC studio co-head James Gunn has finally said the quiet part out loud. Yes, the new Superman movie is about politics. Honestly, that really should be the end of it. That in and of itself is enough reason to walk away from this. In a new interview with the Times of London, Gunn opened up about the themes at the heart of the DC Universe reboot, and he made it abundantly clear that this version of the Man of Steel won't shy away from commentary. Of course not. Of course not. I mean, Superman is a story of America, Gunn said. Though it should also be noted that Gunn and DC have taken extreme care to omit Superman's classic American Way motto from the film's promotion. We will get to that, by the way. He's an immigrant that came from another place and populated the country, but for me, it is mostly a story that says basic human kindness is a value and is something we have lost, Gunn said. Taken in and of itself, I could agree with that, but I feel that there's more to it than that. This statement has stoked the fears of many that Superman will serve as a cultural and political progressive parable rather than a traditional action-driven escapist superhero film. While Gunn frames the conversation between Clark and Lois from the trailer in which they argue over Superman's actions overseas to be one of compassion, it's unmistakably wrapped in the language of modern political narratives, particularly on the topic of moral standing. The decision to frame Clark Kent's journey as a metaphor for immigration isn't new, but the Times interview puts Superman squarely in the crosshairs of today's deeply divided political landscape. When asked about how audiences might react to the film's themes, Gunn didn't hold back. Yes, it plays differently, but it's about human kindness, he said, and obviously there will be jerks out there who are just not kind and will take it as offensive just because it's about kindness. But screw them. You could agree with the substance of what he says, but the way he says it, with a chip on his shoulder, already pointing at the audience, especially when you consider the atmosphere we live in today and what we've been getting from the entertainment industry lately, I have no F's to give for this guy. I really don't. But by Gunn's own admission, the film will explore morality, conflict, and clashing values, particularly between Superman and Lois. Now again, on the surface, that's kind of what you expect from Superman, talking about morality, conflicts, and clashing values. That kind of is very much the Superman brand. Very concerned about what this particular individual, James Gunn, considers morality to be. Yes, it's about politics, but on another level, it's about morality. See, that's the problem. These people conflate morality and politics. This politics good, that politics bad. Do you never kill no matter what, which is what Superman believes, or do you have some balance, as Lois believes? It's really, well, see, that also might come from their power set, right? A normal person who, may only be able to protect herself when she's all on her own with a deadly weapon has a very different perspective than someone who's got superior powers, who can literally have bullets bounce off of him and is in no danger from the average person. Very, very, very much easier to hold those kinds of opinions. It's really about their relationship and the way different opinions on basic moral beliefs can tear two people apart. Oh, you think? And this is a great way to get your message across by starting with the point of a wedge. It's a striking turn from the classically apolitical hero who once stood for truth, justice, and the American way. In fact, Gunn's comments suggest the film more interested in questioning America's identity than celebrating it, prompting some longtime fans to wonder if this Superman even stands for anything distinctly American anymore. Gunn's remarks will likely add fuel to the already volatile debate about Superman and politics. Critics of recent superhero films have pointed to Hollywood's increasing tendency to inject overt political themes into beloved franchises, often at the expense of broad audience appeal. With the DC brand already struggling for box office traction following recent flops like The Flash and Blue Beetle, some fans worry that Gunn's ideological framing might alienate more viewers than it attracts. Right here, that's what this is about. I'm already saying I'm feeling alienated and not included, and not like I've been treated kindly. James Gunn. Gunn appears unbothered by the possibility of backlash. That sounds really kind. But with early social media chatter already pointing to concerns about tone, message, and deviation from Superman mythos, it's unclear whether the director's defiance may translate into ticket sales. there's a couple ways you can address this. You can say, you know what? I understand your concerns. Just give me a chance. That would be the wise way to go about it. But no. He's calling us jerks right off the bat. The film stars David Cornsweet as Superman, Rachel Brosnahan as Lois Lane, and Nicholas Hoult as Lex Luthor, alongside a large ensemble including Nathan Fillion as Green Lantern and Isabella Merced as Hawkgirl. But despite an impressive cast, it may be Gunn's vision and his unapologetic commitment to making Superman a political statement that defines the movie's legacy. Whether that legacy will be seen as a bold reinvention or ideological overreach remains to be seen. That is an excellent point. Until the movie is released, we don't know where they're going with this. Before I go on to the next article, I do want to back up a little bit here and see what the chat is saying. I got to go back a ways. Yep, waiting on reviews from other YouTubers. Absolutely. Still not sold on Gunn. Exactly. Welcome, Real Wade Nation Gaming Clips. Make sure you are subscribed to him, not only on YouTube, but even more especially on the Green Machine. Howdy there, Troy, says David Pensek. Howdy there, David Pensek. Glad to see you. Mark says, sounds to me like what can be unburdened by what has been. Yeah, it does sound like he is ready to jettison some of the goodwill that we have had for Superman for a very long time. For goodness sake, says Darth Plato. Yep, absolutely. Gunn and others invoking kindness in defense of their immigration position is a sort of inoculation against criticism on the one hand and pre-made straw man on the other. Yeah, that's a great point. I don't think he was discussing kindness specifically in terms of the immigration position. And that whole immigration thing, whether or not that's even an important part of this, remains to be seen, and might be a topic for another day, because Superman as immigrant, as the article points out, is not new. He is a good allegory, and he's been used differently over the years. So that is worth discussing. It's a tactic common among radicals to cloak oneself in righteousness, while the opponent is the unfeeling bad guy. Gunn's thinking bubbles up from the mindset that caters to the premise that opponents of illegal immigration just want to keep America as white as possible. It's not about race. It's about naturalization, which is spelled out in the Constitution. Yeah. This whole idea that, and it getting back to this immigration thing in terms of Superman. Superman upholds the law, right? He's always about that. And they have used the immigration thing as a discussion of him having some uncertainties about his status, especially given, secret identity and all that kind of thing. Hit the nail on the head, Darth Plato. Yep, exactly. A diplomatic approach. Go figure. Yeah, exactly. It's to get the Latino vote left again by scaring them approach. Okay. Smacky. Welcome. Haven't seen you before. At least I don't think I have. At least not under this name. Gunn just had to put the politics in Superman movie. Yeah. Well, look. James Gunn has had a long history of dumb on the internet. And the idea that he wouldn't be cocking it up now, it was just a matter of time. For all the time he has spent promoting himself over this movie, it did take a while for this kind of stuff to come up. But, you know, you could only hold it back so long, I guess. Final Fantasy Fan 012, welcome. It's one part when Zack Snyder turns Superman into basically Hamlet. It's another thing when Gunn turns Superman into the butt of the joke like he's Daffy Duck. Okay. Leia says, Gunn just gives me this vibe that he does not respect Superman. I'm getting to see that more and more, Leia. He sees him more as a cartoon joke than a true character. That is just me. Yeah, and that's what has been kind of ruining Superman in adaptation for a long time. Gunn just had to put his politics in the movie. What a dumb thing to do. I couldn't agree more. You should think in this post-Bud Light, post-Jaguar era, you know, people would have learned. And I think more and more studios are learning this. It's just that this movie has been in production for so long. I don't know. Some of these people have a thinking problem. This all illustrates the depth of the groupthink that marinates the thinking in Hollywood. You're not wrong there. You are not wrong there. How many criminals or homeless are living at Casa de Gun? Good point. Good point. See you guys saying hi to each other. That always encourages me. I just want a good, pure Superman movie, true to the comics and the characters itself. Nothing more, nothing less. Why is it so hard for Hollywood? I would temper that one thing. I agree with you 100%, Smacky, but there is one thing I want to point out to people who say this, because I don't think we think it through when we say it. I want it to be true to the comics. Well, I've noticed, especially over on the Marvel side, and a little bit on the DC side, and they're going to do this more. They're going to do things that fit with what they're trying to get across that aren't true to the character by pointing to an isolated incident and saying, look, we used the source material. We were faithful to the source material. That is what the folks over at Marvel are doing with the Fantastic Four. See, there was this one example of a female Silver Surfer, so we're justified in changing her gender for this movie, right? You know, oh, Superman is killed. If you go all the way back to 1941 or whatever it was, you know, Superman killed back then, and so it's okay for Superman to kill. You know, oh, Batman killed all the time, you know, in the 40s, you know, and then of course there's this the Dark Knight Returns, you know, they use these Elseworld examples, which are not mainstream, which are not meant to be the ideal. They're meant to be cautionary tales, and they're using them as their example and saying it's true to the comics. Even if Gunn said, just give me a chance, I'm not taking that chance because he had everyone else in Warner Brothers and Hollywood refuse to even understand Superman as a character. I agree with you, Final Fantasy. What I meant by that wasn't that I would give him a chance and go see it. I'm saying I would give him the chance to wait and see what other people said before I decided whether or not to go see it. Unfortunately, he didn't say that, and I'm not giving him the chance. That is why I meant what I said in the title. The title was not clickbait. I will not be seeing this movie for a number of reasons that I haven't even gotten to yet. What if I wanted to uphold cookies because I want sugar? Enigma Severs comes in with an oblique, why so serious? Thank you. Now I want cookies, damn it. Saying hi to each other. You guys are wonderful. It's no secret the studio is banking on this film. Guess Gunn doesn't care. I'm glad you bring that up. I'm actually going to jump ahead because that is such a good lead-in, David. James Gunn calls claim that Superman must make $700 million to break even utter nonsense in latest budget battle. Let's find out what it needs to do in order to break even. Keeping in mind that he's probably looking at it from the perspective, the simple perspective. This is what my budget is, so this is what profitability would be. That does not necessarily mean that's what Warner Brothers would consider to be. People forget this. They have a tendency to say this movie, in order to be successful, has to make back what we put into it, has to make back what we put into marketing, has to make this much more above that, and sometimes they tack on, and it has to make up for what we lost on the previous movie. People don't think about that. And it's not anything that's ever officially said, but you know there are people in the boardrooms that are saying that are saying this movie and that movie lost money. You know, let's just look at Star Wars, for example. Solo lost money. We all know that. So the next movie that came out, they said it has to make back all this bank. We are still in the hole this much for our investment and for what we didn't make on this movie and what we're losing on streaming, and these things add up. So his opinion is his opinion, but let's look at his opinion. James Gunn is once again refuting the claim that his upcoming Superman film is facing impossible financial hurdles due to a bloated budget. Okay, so he's speaking specifically to his budget and his decisions. Okay, that's fair. The director and co-head of DC Studios addressed the rumors in his recent interview with GQ, specifically calling out the widely circulated belief that the film must gross $700 million just to break even. That's not even a lot. That's not even a lot. But, okay, at least given a lot of the superhero movies that have been coming out lately. Is there something riding on it? Yeah, but it's not as big as people make it out to be, Gunn said. They hear the numbers that the movie's going to be successful. The movie's only going to be successful if it makes $700 million or something, and it's just complete and utter nonsense. It doesn't need to be as big of a situation as people are saying. Gunn further dismissed claims that Superman is a risky bet, stating, "It's not the riskiest endeavor in the world." Now, I'm sure there are people at Warner Brothers that might question that. However, Gunn's past Superman budget comments have been challenged by The Hollywood Reporter, which published an article, and there's a link to that article, in early June on the film's actual costs, citing state documents and industry insiders that paint a very different picture. According to The Hollywood Reporter, Superman's production team filed documents with the Ohio state government indicating a gross production budget of $363.8 million. That figure was submitted to qualify for tax incentives, making it a matter of public record, not speculation. When the number first surfaced last year, Gunn pushed back online, asking, how in the world do they think they know what our budget is? Well, that's how. Public documents, buddy. That's what you call having receipts. He did not offer an alternative figure at the time. Of course he didn't. Because he probably doesn't even have an idea at this point. Since then, DC Studios has reportedly cited a $225 million net budget, factoring in tax breaks and subsidies. But The Hollywood Reporter stood by their original gross number, noting that the $363.8 million figure came directly from the production itself in official filings. More on how tax breaks might factor into the story in a moment. If I was a lawyer in court, I would say, were you lying when you said $363.8 million, or are you lying now when you say $225 million? It's one or the other. Either you lied then or you lied now. And if you lied then, you lied on official tax documents, making you liable. So think about that. The THR investigation also suggested Warner Brothers may be spending as much as $200 million on marketing the film globally, placing the total cost well above $550 million and probably over $600 million when including overhead and interest. No one ever takes into account interest. Interest starts calculating from day one. Just remember that. When you're talking millions and millions of dollars, that's a lot of interest. One veteran film financier told the outlet there's no way to defend these budgets because when you get into the $700 million to $900 million break-even point in regards to box office, the ancillary revenue, it doesn't make any sense. While James Gunn's insistence that Superman doesn't need to take $700 million to break even, he raised eyebrows. He may have a point, depending on how the math is framed. I don't want to get into the math. It's not that important. DC's track record and industry pressure, there's a lot riding on this. Gunn's history of denials. How trustworthy is Gunn? This isn't the first time Gunn has taken to social media, often Threads, his platform of choice, to shut down reporting on Superman. He publicly denied rumors about the film's tone, runtime, and test screenings. In several cases, he ridiculed the outlets or implied they were spreading falsehoods. But this time, the Superman budget report came from The Hollywood Reporter, an industry trade publication supported by official filings and industrial experts, not anonymous leakers or online pundits. That places Gunn in an increasingly awkward position, continue denying the reported figures or acknowledge that the film may be operating under a larger financial burden than he's letting on. Why is he even addressing these things at all? Why is he even addressing these things at all? It makes no sense to me whatsoever. Guys, I need a drink, and I need to get my promos in, and then we're going to get to some more points right after this. Give me a little under 3 minutes on this one.
You are watching Liquid Lunch, streaming every weekday at noon Central, 1 p.m. Eastern. Let's sip together. This week on Live from Sparkwood in 21, we will be taking a drive down David Lynch's Lost Highway, searching for where the road leads us, possibly to our own psychogenic fugue. Join us this Tuesday at 7:30 Central, 8:30 Eastern on Deleted Scenes and Affiliates.
The Ultra spend their lives on Ultra World collecting information, and Callie and Avon's brain patterns are next on their list. Now the race is on. Tarrant and Dana must reach them before they are absorbed into the core. It's Ultra World, this Tuesday on Last Call Presents Blake 7 at 10 p.m. Central, 11 Eastern.
This Thursday night, Netter sits down with film analyst and writer Albert Lanier. You'll get to know him, hear about his long history in the industry, and of course, subscribe to his YouTube channel. It's Netter's Network, this Thursday night at 9 Central, 10 Eastern.
This week on Saturday Night at the Movies, we have been recruited by the Star League to defend the frontier against Zur and the Kodan Armada as Big Al presents The Last Starfighter on Films with Friends, Saturday at 9 Central, 10 Eastern.
Every Sunday evening, Aged Boomer and Papa Pacelli bring you the rundown of the week's geek news, or at least what they think is interesting. You may have heard about it somewhere else, but Boomer and Pacelli put a spin on it you likely won't hear anywhere else. It's Geeky Geezers, every Sunday evening at 8 Central, 9 Eastern.
We now return to our liquid lunch.
David says it's no secret the studio is banking on this film. Guess Gunn doesn't care. He doesn't. He wants to make the film he wants to make, and that's all there is to it. I think after Zack Snyder and his grim, dark take, this will be a breath of fresh air. I certainly agree with the sentiment that anything lighter is going to be an improvement on Zack Snyder, but I am not certain that this is going to be as much of a breath of fresh air as people think it is. I love the dog. I know that a lot of people don't, but I've loved Crypto for years. It does seem more positive. It does seem more optimistic. But if it's getting preachy and political, and there's a lot of other things that I haven't even gotten to yet. We'll get there. It's reasons like this that I created Heroic, and it's aspirational, iconic alpha male. True to which version of the character? Superman has been written by hundreds of people different ways. Which one are we talking about? Okay, see, that is a cop-out. That is a cop-out that these people are using. This is what I was saying earlier. Oh, Superman killed people back in the 40s, so, the idea that Superman doesn't kill... Superman does evolve. All these characters do. When they're 75 years old... they absolutely do have some evolution, preferably for the better. But I'll tell you what version of the character, not the version of the character that some Joe Rando director-writer wants to infuse his story into. This one fits with the story I want to tell. So I'm gonna choose from this comic, That's and let's face it, that's what Zack Snyder did when he chose mostly from the Elseworlds, like The Dark Knight Returns. That is absolutely the worst version of Superman ever. And that's the one he chose. No. Pay attention to what the zeitgeist of Superman fans consider Superman to be. That is the version of Superman. Heaven forbid they ever give the fans what they want, right? Sergeant Giratina? I hope I pronounced that correctly. Welcome. Good to see you. The reason Gunn Superman reboot won't be as appealing to fans is that Warner Brothers Discovery still won't give us different A-list villains like Metallo, Parasite, and Bizarro for starters. I think what you're saying is because they keep going back to the same ones over and over and over again. I agree with you, but I also think that what they're trying to do is they're trying to start with cornerstones. You start with Lex Luthor and you build off from there. We haven't been able to have enough of a run on Superman to go through different villains. When you can only get through 2-3 movies before people go, that's it, we're out. You've lost the plot. You're never going to get to those other villains. That's part of the problem. They also think Sue is the leader. Yeah, you're talking about the whole. You're talking about the whole Marvel thing. Welcome, Wolf 10 Media. Good to see you, my friend. Haven't seen you in a while. It's really great to see you. Superheroes no kill rule may be a holdover from the Hays Code. No, I don't think so. I think it's as relevant as ever because it comes down to responsibility of power, right? And also what makes a hero. Why does Batman not kill? Batman doesn't kill because the whole reason he does what he does is because his parents were murdered. And he wants to make sure that doesn't happen again. And he won't resort to murder to fight murder. That's anathema to him. Actually, I am reading the book Batman Resurrection, which takes place in between Batman 89 and Batman Returns. And the author gets very into that and makes a great point there. Why does Superman not kill? He's got so much power, he doesn't have to. He never has to. He's always got another option. A lot of easy options that don't require killing. Plus, because of those powers, he's held to a high standard. People are scared of him. They don't want Homelander. They want Superman. Let's see. Also, when are we ever going to see Superman fight Brainiac? I know, right? That's exactly right. Yeah, I would love to see that. And I like what some of the interpretations have done where they have kind of amalgamated Brainiac with why Krypton is destroyed. That actually, is a great hook for Superman. That doesn't come from the original comics when Brainiac was originally introduced. Detroit Rock says Warner Brothers wants $1 billion. I would imagine they do. And it almost sounds like Gunn is equivocating. He's trying to hedge his bets. If we don't make $700 million, I don't want to look bad. So I'm going to say, we don't need $700 million to be successful. Where Warner Brothers is like, excuse me, you need to make $700 million. You need to make a friggin' $1 billion here. We need this to be knocked out of the park if you want to do the rest of your movies. If Gunn was actually confident in the movie. Exactly. Yes. I didn't get to your I was already basically saying this. Yes, you're exactly right, Smacky. Thank you. It must make $668 million, not adjusted for inflation, because that's what the Snyder Bros will be watching for. Well, not counting for inflation and interest on the loans and all of that stuff too. Just whatever. I'm going to breeze through these. I can't hit them all because I still have another article to get to, and I've only got about 10 minutes here. Somar says, too bad they don't do that right in the animated movies because they don't know how to handle soups because they're incompetent. Yeah. And from what I've seen, and I'm not an expert on the animation, but from what I've seen of the animation, it's sometimes good, sometimes bad, not always. But yeah, let's go ahead and get back to the article. This one is saying the first review releases early due to Daily Beast error, and it's not good. So let me first start by saying, everyone taking a wait and see approach. The first thing you can look at as you're waiting and seeing is the fact that there is an embargo on the reviews. If they were confident about their film, there would not be an embargo. They'd say, yes, go ahead and do your non-spoiler reviews because we have that much faith in the film. That tells me they don't have a lot of faith in the film. So let's start right there. The first official Superman review has been published, and it's not good news for Warner Brothers, Discovery, or the Daily Beast. With the Superman review embargo officially set to lift on July 8th, Warner Brothers has been keeping tight control over early critical reactions to James Gunn's highly anticipated DC reboot. However, that strategy hit a major snag late last night when the Daily Beast accidentally pushed its review ahead of schedule, and it wasn't pretty. Though the review was quickly taken down, it stayed up long enough to send shockwaves through social media. Screenshots and summaries spread like wildfire, and the early verdict is already fueling doubts about the direction of DC's revamped cinematic universe. So what did the first published review have to say about Superman? The headline alone pulls no punches. Terrible new Superman is final nail in superhero cinematic coffin. According to the Daily Beast, Superman plays out like a Saturday morning cartoon that's overstuffed and awe-ish in over-the-top CGI insanity. You have to parse that because it sounds like there's a lot of bias there. But if you try reading between the lines on that, it's still not good. The result, according to the Daily Beast, is action sequences so bombastic and relentless that they lose impact. It's a sensory overload that the critics view drowns out the emotional core. Even David Cornsweet, the new face of Clark Kent, doesn't escape criticism. While the review concedes that he visually fits the role, it claims he feels relatively slight compared to Christopher Reeve and Henry Cavill, undermined further by a narrative that's all over the place. The whirlwind structure of the film reportedly makes it difficult for any character to truly land. This was a concern that I had when I saw all the ancillary characters they were throwing into this thing. Asking audiences to hold on for dear life as it whiplashes around from one out-of-the-world locale and incident to another. The review also blasts the film's script for feigning interest in actual emotion and claims the humor falls flat. The relationship between Clark and Lois is said to lack spark, while Nicholas Holt's Lex Luthor is overshadowed by a plot so chaotic it renders the entire affair superficial and silly. Most alarming of all of DC's fans, for DC's fans, is the comparison of Joss Whedon's Justice League, a film widely seen as one of DC's lowest points. The reviewer criticizes Superman for being overloaded with heroes and villains it has neither the time nor the inclination to develop, making everything feel two-dimensional despite Gunn's signature sharp and vibrant visual style. This is what we've all been complaining about for a long time, that it looks to the whole world as though what they're doing is they are not making a Superman movie here. They are making a prologue to their DC cinematic universe. This needed to be a Superman movie. We needed to fall in love with Superman. It needed to be Superman, all Superman. And that's not what this is going to be. That pretty much confirms it for me. To say this response was brutal would be an understatement. While this is just one review and a prematurely posted one at that, it casts a long shadow over the looming release. With opening weekend projections already softening, poor word of mouth could trigger a disastrous second week drop. Even if the film starts strong at the box office, there's still a chance the majority of reviews next week will be more forgiving or even enthusiastic. But make no mistake, the first Superman review is not the kind of pre-release buzz Warner Brothers wanted. It reignites concerns that Gunn's version of DC might be too niche, too chaotic, too meta for general audiences to embrace. Whether this leaked critique is a fluke or a canary in the coal mine remains to be seen. Let me see what you all are saying here. It looks bad and sounds like it will be woke. Yes. Yep, looking forward to Film Threat's review on that for sure. First name, last name. I'll just watch Man of Steel tonight. That's not a ringing endorsement. But there you go. Apparently it was originally an episodic story, but Warner Brothers made it linear. Are we talking about this movie? I hadn't heard that. That would explain the whiplash chaos that this article was talking about. That would be very interesting. All I know is Gunn wrote it. equaling L. Okay, that's fair. I'm not the hugest of Gunn fans myself. That might be a bit of an overstatement, but that certainly remains to be seen. Signature visual style? I don't know. That's what the reviewer said. Apparently he has some insight into Gunn's style, I'm going to assume. So Sean O'Rourke is predicting an opening weekend domestic to be 70 to 85 million if Jurassic Rebirth doesn't drop 65% for its second weekend. I am not the numbers guy, so I can't say whether that's good or bad. Sounds about right. But thank you, by the way, Sean O'Rourke. Thank you for stopping by and giving us some insight. Let's see. Not many people are talking about just how badly... Just how badly this movie can flop. It might do returns numbers, and that failed in 2006. Yeah, that's an excellent point. I think, to be fair, I do think that most people want this film to be successful. But the more that comes out, the more angry a lot of fans get, and the less likely it seems it's going to. Netter says, there's a lot of people that won't be watching this film. I'm one of them. To be fair on that one, if I'm not seeing it, Netter's almost certainly not seeing it. We do kind of function as a unit, which actually is a good, serious point. If you don't get the fans, you're not going to get the friends and significant others of the fans. This is what we've always been saying. Piss off the fans, you may as well just write the movie off. Forget Matching Man of Steel. This might do worse than Returns. Yeesh. Yikes. That's saying a lot. Longest running superhero RPG on Earth. Welcome. I don't have audio right now, but swinging by to hit the like and give the view, etc. I hope you come back because I think you'll be interested in this one. You especially, CK. Everything surrounding Superman, including the Snyder Bros, the state of DC, the superhero genre, and the competition it has. It would be a miracle, in my opinion, if Superman makes 600 million. That's a valid point, a good point even. I think you're right. Spider-Man reboots didn't start with Green Goblin or Doc Ock in each other's first movies. This excuse about cornerstones and the need to build off Lex Luthor's BS, why not feature Metallo with him? Metallo isn't... It's not an excuse. It's a valid point. If your point is valid, so is mine. Sean O'Rourke. The film was supposed to take place like Pulp Fiction with chapters based on days of the week. They got cold feet and brought in a new editor to rework the film. Actually, that days of the week idea sounds good. This is the problem. You need to... This reactionary re-editing and almost refilming movies is what's killing them. Even films that could potentially be okay are coming out crap because they're being chopped up and Frankensteined. You need to understand your product, your film, your style, and who your audience is before you even begin rolling film. That's how it has to be. You got to get it right from the beginning. I have a feeling that the article is sounding like everyone's public perception of superheroes and Saturday morning cartoons when I mentioned it, and I can't help but facepalm. We'll see. We will absolutely see. Gunn's problem is he's a fan, is a fan that seems to like anything and everything, and he throws everything and everything in the blender, watering down some characters and retelling other characters to the point. Yep. Besides, Lex is a billionaire, and he built Metallo in the animated series. That, of course, being based on the John Byrne era, where Metallo was built by Lex Luthor, to the point that the current canon is that Lex Luthor built Metallo. So you want Metallo, you need Lex Luthor first. That's just how storytelling works. Yeah. And it's really hard for it to be a rehash of the Donner films if it's not an origin story. You know? I mean, let's face it. 75% of that was origin story. And this is absolutely not that. People wondering why Jurassic Park makes so much despite being bad. So dinos eating people is what kids want. This Superman film is too goofy even for kids. Well, we don't know that to be true yet, but it sure looks that way. You're right. Would it have killed him to have Jason working with E.G.O. instead, E.G.O. being Star-Lord's dad? Yeah. Let's see. I'm sorry, I do have to get through these because we're already over time here. They reboot the universe because it wasn't working, and Gunn promises it his DC Universe announcement vid in January 2023. That was really what's to give us something new. Cancels Superman and Lois for this? Yeah. And that falls into something that I've talked about many, many times before with DC being unable to allow their peas and carrots to touch on their plate. You know, they do something on TV and they got to kill it before they go to the movies instead of just saying, hey, this is popular. Let's take this Superman and make him into our movie. They never build on any success that they have. Gunn could be on projects dealing with witty and silly superheroes. The Mask, for example, or the Creeper. Actually, I would love to see him do a Justice League in terms of the 90s, Justice League International. He's introducing the characters, right? When he's doing Maxwell Lord and Guy Gardner and Hawkgirl and all this kind of stuff, it looks like that's what he wants to do. But he should not be doing Superman and Batman and Wonder Woman in order to set that up. Right tool for the right job. You don't drive a hammer with a screwdriver. I said this guy with the chain gun in Superman Returns should have been John Corbin. Oh, that's actually quite brilliant. And instead of Kryptonite, Shiv, it's Metallo chasing Superman in the Kryptonite continent. Yeah. There's a lot of things they could have, should have done. Jason Fox from 540 Studios. Make sure you're subscribed to his channel. It's going to be the best movie ever. James Gunn is the god of hero movies. Come on, man. You need to love it. Yeah. And notice it's all followed by rolling on the floor laughing emojis. Yeah. Thank you. I didn't think I was going to get to this point. Yes, I have a video in my description below. Definitely check it out. Let me give attribution. I'm not going to get to talk about it too much today, but the amazing Lucas has a video that I have linked down below. Please go check it out, where he talks about the representation of Mr. Terrific. And that, more than any of this other stuff that we've talked about today, is why I will not be watching this. We live in an era of wanting representation. So what do? they take the character, the black character from DC Comics who has the most potential, who everybody that is aware of him likes him, right? And puts him in the movie, and I'm like, okay, I like Mr. Terrific. This guy doesn't really look beefy enough, but I'll give him a chance, right? We saw nothing until the very most recent trailer. And this guy is talking like a 70s racist stereotype of a black man. The whole shuck and jive thing. This is the representation you're giving black people? Really? And then, yes, he drops the, I'm the GD Mr. Terrific. So you immediately alienated every single Christian. Probably most Jews as well, right? Anyone with any religious sensibilities, anyone who likes this character, an intelligent person, keeping in mind, I'm not claiming to be an intelligent person. An intelligent person does not need to use vulgarity. And Mr. Terrific is supposed to be one of the most intelligent people in the world. He's supposed to be rivaling Lex Luthor. Yeah, the representation that they're giving, and again, please check out the video I have listed below. I have zero interest in this particular incarnation of Mr. Terrific. That was kind of a deal breaker for me. That was absolutely a deal breaker for me. Sure. Exactly right. Well, that I think is going to be that's going to be my last word on it. I've already run over. A lot of you guys that are on your lunch breaks have already had to bail out. I hope you enjoyed the stream. I don't want to do another one tomorrow, so I do thank you for bringing up Mr. Terrific, because I like Mr. Terrific. I think he deserves his own movie. I understand introducing him in someone else's movie, but he deserves his own movie, and I don't like this particular representation of the character. Joe, you got here just in time. Welcome, by the way. I think involving political themes could backfire. At least DCEU Superman went political in the second DCEU movie. I think it will backfire. I think it's destined to backfire, because I think people are already, even if they agree with the politics, they're getting sick and tired of being preached at. I think is the general trend we're seeing in the theaters. The minute I heard Mr. Terrific speak, it gave me a Spaceballs vibe of the guy combing the sand with the hair pick. Do you know who that guy was? That was Tim Russ. That was the Black Vulcan from Voyager. Someone who I used to like until he started getting political. Yeah, no, you're right. We ain't found shit. Yeah, that's exactly what it feels like. And that turns representation into tokenism. It is. And it's incredibly racist. It's incredibly racist, the way they're treating this character. Absolutely. Yes, I love the Richard Donner. Now, it's not a perfect film. It is not a perfect film. And that's another film. That could be a topic for another day. That's another one where studio snipping and getting involved ruined it. He had a plan going into it. He just ran over budget. That was a big problem. Wasn't perfect. But there's a lot of things about the Donner movie that were not canon that ended up becoming canon because they were good, because it was good stuff. James Gunn comes from a wealthy family and went to a private school. and he only knows stereotypes. That actually explains a lot. At first, it seems Gunn was adapting Superman versus the Elite. Yes, that's what I thought too, with the whole Justice gang replacing the Elite, but now it doesn't seem so. I don't know. Anyway, I'll be checking out your comments because obviously during a live stream I can't see them all. Make sure if there was something that you wanted to get across that I didn't bring up, leave it in the comments below. If there's enough interest, I'll do another stream about this later in the week as we get closer to it. Maybe Thursday when the reviews actually start coming out, we'll address this again. I really want to thank every single one of you for staying, almost a quarter of an hour past the hour. I'm usually not this undisciplined, I should say, but I get worked up about this. I can tell that a lot of you are rather worked up about it too. So, guys, I want to thank you guys so much for sharing your lunch with me today. Mine's a liquid lunch. So you guys take care. Gotta have something solid, right? You guys take care. Thank you so much. Tonight, members only watch party of the movie Clue from 1985. Tomorrow, another liquid lunch. Looking forward to it. Take care, everybody.
Goodbye. Hope to see you again real soon.
So here's to the daylight, the drinks and the fun, our liquid lunch, till the next one comes. With a wink and a smile, we'll be back real soon, chasing that jazz under the high.